Hey everyone, welcome to the Do the Thing podcast. This is your host, Stacey Lauren. Well, guys, this is exciting because I met my next guest at an event that I went to in Texas where we were totally doing something new and exciting. And it's been so fun to get to know her. You know, those people that you meet and the minute they come into your presence, you're like, oh, okay, I see what's happening here. I had been at this event before and I was handing out badges and she immediately came over and just helped me and was part of my team already. And so I could instantly tell that she is a do the thing person and loved her energy. And just we got to talk through the program and it's amazing to get to know her. And I'm even more excited to have this time with her to go even deeper and have you guys learn about her and what she's doing as well. So I am excited to welcome Jamie to the show. Hey, Jamie.
Hey, it is so great. I am so grateful to be here, Stacey. And she's right. We just hit it off immediately. And we just had this synergistic energy. And it was funny because we were welcoming people into the event as part of the leadership team. And we synced up as far as who could do what. It was just an instant connection. So I can't speak highly enough of Stacey. I'm so honored to be here. I'm excited to see where this conversation leads today.
Yeah, it's great when you were able to just come in and just do it. I think there's just a lot of people. It's true, though. There's a lot of people that are kind of hesitant in things. And I feel like that just spoke a lot about you. I really thought it was cool.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd say the same thing about you for sure.
Thank you. So I'd love to have you share about you. Let's hear your story.
Gosh. Well, there's so much. Let me start with my story really began in 2012 when I was newly divorced. And to preface that, you would have found me probably during those years laying on the closet floor, like depth of tears, crying and so afraid because I had been a stay-at-home mom. I didn't even have credit because I hadn't worked for 11 years, right? I was a homeschooling mom part of the time. I led Bible studies, but to go forth then and all of a sudden have to provide for my 3 little kids who at the time were 6, 8, and 10, not having had a job for, like I said, 11 years, not having any idea what the future would hold, not knowing literally anything. I was so afraid and desperately seeking control and stability. But you know, in those times when everything, I'm not sure if you've been there and you're listening, and if you've been there where everything in your life is just leveled to ground zero, or you have those come to Jesus moments where everything just is crushed in your life and your soul is crushed, your spirit is crushed, even your self inside, who you know yourself to be is just crushed. And that's where I found myself. It actually began in 2011. The divorce was final in 2012. And at that moment, throughout those next few years, I realized and understood because I was living out of reactivity. I was living out of fear, as anyone would that didn't know what was to come, right? And so what I found was all of these self-sabotaging behaviors, all of these doubts, fears, reactions were controlling me. And even in these instances where I was having these amazing opportunities to step into the fitness industry. So I was an international fitness presenter once I left that divorce and I became an international fitness presenter because that was what my BS was in, my degree was in, was sports science. And so I found that even in those moments where I had amazing success and opportunities, I would sabotage them. Something would happen inside of me where it would flare up because I didn't realize all of these deep-seated things, these fears, these unhealed wounds, these old stories from my past as far as how things had happened were being unearthed. And what I want to just say is in those instances, even say, for example, COVID, any time of crisis in your life, it is an opportunity to truly allow feedback for your own self to grow, to understand, to see what are you really doing in your life that is self-sabotaging what you really want, right? Where you really want your life to go. What are you doing in those instances where you're afraid? Are you managing? Are you self-regulating? Are you letting them take over control of you? And truly, I was witnessing myself. And I had always been a high-achieving woman. I had always been driven. I always was chosen as a leader. But I was finding myself in these situations where I was like, what just happened? I reacted poorly, and this outcome was the farthest thing that I was seeking, but it was like I was doing it myself. I was creating this outcome and didn't even know it in the middle of it. And so what I realized is I need to get to know me again. I had lost me. And I don't know if any of you listening have ever lost yourself. I work with a lot of women over 40 that may have just had a divorce, a life transition, have illness in the family. Maybe they just got fired from their job, or they feel irrelevant and they don't know what's coming next for them. How can they possibly still be relevant? And so anytime you're in those situations, there's feedback that we can gather, and we can either self-regulate or we can let it destroy our lives. We can self-sabotage our success, the things that we truly desire in our lives, right? The things that God created us to be and to do. And as humans, if we don't take a moment and several moments to be aware and to heal those places, to discover new tools and new ways to work through them, we just continue to cycle back around into those self-sabotaging behaviors. We keep letting life control us instead of us being empowered to dynamically adapt to life and gain back the control that we do have. What I have seen is control was a huge thing in my life. And I know that, I don't know if you've seen this, Stacey, but I know that so many women, high achieving, not high achieving, so many women want to control. Like our need is to control because we feel like if we control things, we can control the outcome, we can know the outcome. And what I finally realized is you can't. There's no way. There's only certain elements we can control, and everything else is out of our control. All of those external factors that it might be somebody else's reactions. It might be something that happens to us, right? Mm-hmm. And we can't control those things, but what we can control is how we react, our emotions, how we handle the situation. We can control having strategies in place to be able to handle things in a moment or afterwards, right? And so what I learned is all of these new strategies, these techniques, I dove really deep into myself because I had lost myself. I will go kind of back to where I started is women have typically many times lost themselves, their identity, their true drive. They've gotten so misaligned because life just happened and kids have happened and divorce or marriage, and they've lost that compass as to how they were truly created. And so I went back to seek in 2017. I really had this opening to be able to start to self-discover and to seek, who am I now? Who do I want to be? It doesn't even have to go back to who was I. I can let all of that go. And so many of us think that we have to stay in where we're at or that we can't change. And the truth is we have all access and all ability to change in a moment's notice. It's just a mindset. It's a mind shift. It's a mind reframing. And so that's really where my story began.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. And sorry for the married people that are listening, but I know I have a lot of divorced people listening too. So it's the gift of divorce, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it at the time for sure. So if you're in there and you've just gone through it, I get it. It's hard and so many things. And I can relate to so much of what you said after my divorce. And I think the gift is that you're just getting this reset because it's like the same old thing, right? And then you get to take space from it, which then really gets you to figure out who you are again. And I love that you were really figuring it out. You weren't just numbing and all these things that you could have done. You actually were treating yourself in the way that you were wanting to make a change.
For sure. And what I want to encourage you, if you are going through a divorce or a major life change, so many times we take the power out from under ourselves. We're like, it's happening to me. And the reality isn't it's happening to you. It's happening for you if you allow it. If you allow this to be an opportunity to discover, to be an opportunity to reshift your mindset, to be an opportunity to let go of the things that no longer serve you and really embrace where you want to go and who you want to be and bring more of that into your life. It's an opportunity to open up your life for you and to begin to have new choices And yes, it can be so hard. I understand. Trust me. I was, oh my gosh, years of spinning around, years of learning, years of devastation. I was in such debt from us trying to pay off our credit cards when we got divorced and all of the things. But we can choose. And our mindset is truly one of the first places. I can talk about another one that I really feel is even more important because it kind of sets you up to have the ability to have energy for mindset. But our mindset is really what we choose. We can choose. And what we need to do in those cases is fill ourselves full, fill our environments full of positive, life-changing, life-sourcing things like podcasts, like books, like new, fresh people. If you're in an environment where the people in your life are continuing to pull you down, they're allowing you to stay in that victim mentality. If they don't have a positive life themselves, you need new friends. I'm just going to tell you, you need a reset. If you're watching TV series after TV series, that is not something that's feeding your mind, not feeding your self-esteem, not feeding your self-knowledge to build. Again, it's okay to go watch a TV series, but to kind of use that as a numbing technique, as self-sabotaging, like, I just don't want to feel what's going on right now. At some point, you have to make a choice. You get to make a choice, I should say. You don't have to. You can stay there, but you get to make a choice. You get to choose something better for your life. You get to choose to walk forward and begin to up-level your life the way you want to. And just let go of the past, let go of those feelings, get healed, clear some of that old stuff. And it's not easy. You know that. I'm just going to tell you, it's simple, but it's not easy. It's hard because you have to get very real with yourself. You have to understand that some of these things, you did them. Some of these things did happen and they weren't okay, right? They might have been really traumatic. And now you have the opportunity to walk through them, to clear them so you can be that person, so you can have that life, that business that you truly desire, that God has put into your soul and your heart. So it's possible. We just have to choose in those moments. And sometimes it's little by little because we don't have the strength, right? We don't have the mindset. We're exhausted. We have so many things pulling at us. So sometimes it's just little choices. And then having so much grace for yourself in those places when it doesn't go how you want it to go, when you don't act how you want to act, have grace, because it's not going to help to beat yourself up. It's only going to drive you down further into those self-sabotaging behaviors, into the old patterns, into the old version of you.
I would love to know. So when you got divorced, you were a stay-at-home mom, and then you went back to what your degree was in. And so then you became an international fitness presenter. And then you're doing all this work on yourself, right? You're rediscovering who you are. You're learning strategies, techniques. You're figuring it out, especially with mindset, energy, and things like that. And I'd love to hear what your next transition was from there.
So I would say there's been a couple transitions since then. Obviously, we want to evolve. So if you are thinking, saying the same things that you did last year, you're not evolving. Sometimes people get so concerned because they're like, oh, well, I can't say that because I said something else before and I felt like that was the right thing to say. And now they're going to think that I don't know what I'm doing. That's so not true. We have to evolve. And as you evolve, you change your thinking, you change what you say, you change the beliefs you stand on. We're meant to be in this journey, this self-discovery journey. And the more we go on it, the more we evolve faster and faster and faster, right? And so in 2017, there was an end of a relationship, a significant relationship in my life. And that was exactly what I needed because I had lost my identity in all of this. That was part of what had happened even in my marriage. That's part of what happened after when I was feeling so unstable. When you lose your identity, which is so common, because when we come from college and then we have kids and then we get married and then life takes us over and we're just doing what is in front of us. We're doing what other people are needing from us and we're doing what we're supposed to do, quote unquote, right? And so we get lost and we lose our identity. Well, when we lose our identity, what I found is you make different choices because you're not making choices that are aligned with the core of who you are, with the core of your priorities, with the core of your values, right? And so you make different choices, which then throws you way out of alignment again. And it also messes with your security, with your stability, because when you truly know who you are and you're settled and at ease with that person, that man or that woman, things can go around you and you make the right decisions that actually resonate with you, that were at the core of your foundation. And so I had realized I had lost my identity in the middle of all of this. And this is part of what was happening in a lot of the things that I was doing or seeing happening in my life, right? And so I really went back to just taking time for me. And I want to encourage you. I know a lot of women and men actually, when they go through divorce, when they go through a big life change, it's like they just want to fill it back up. They want to fill back up the space. They want to fill it back up with somebody else. They feel like they need somebody in their life to make them feel better, to be their partner. It's just the opposite of what needs to happen in the moment. What needs to happen is we need to take that time, that space, that exploration to rediscover who we really are and to be messy, because it is going to be messy and that's okay. We need to know it's going to be messy and that's okay, because you're trying new things out. You're figuring it out. And it's like a child that's just starting walking. They are a disaster. They knock over things, right? They break things. They're messy. They're not perfect. And we are just that exact same little child. We are going to be messy. We are going to have times where it doesn't feel good. We are going to have times where we succeed. It's going to be all the things. But really starting to be drawn more to what fills your soul. What is calling to you? Who you are and who you aren't. What serves you now to go where do you want to go, but also what no longer serves you that has been in your life that you need to let go of. And that could be old beliefs, that could be doubts, that could be people, that could be patterns and behaviors. But really giving yourself time and space to get that feedback. I was actually, funny enough, in a yoga class and going through this transition of opening up this space. And what happens is when we open up this space, all of a sudden it feels so uncomfortable, right? We feel uncomfortable because no longer is there something immediately to do or something to draw our attention or something that we have to focus on. We actually have a lot of space to just think. And that can be so scary and overwhelming. And so I was listening and I knew already, because I'm pretty self-aware, that I was already trying to seek things to fill and put in these spaces. And the yoga instructor said a really interesting thing, and I equate it to God. That's just my belief. Whatever your belief is fine. But what my connection was God was just putting this person in my life to just affirm. And she was talking about how in the transitions, there's feedback and information for us if we allow the time to do it, if we allow the time to process it. And so when we're having these feelings, when we're having these insecurities, when we react, take time to reflect on those things. Why? Why did you react like that? What was it about that that triggered you? Why do you have this deep-seated belief? And just explore it. Just explore it and uncover it and clear it, because that allows us then to become the person that we were really created to be. That allows us to remember who we are. And then as we do that, begin to align yourself with the things that are true to you, that are your core values, that are your priorities, and put those first. Begin to have boundaries and not letting those old things come back in. And so that's really what I said about doing, is learning me again. And not just learning who I thought I was, who other people told me I was, right? Because we have all of these past histories, past stories, that we lean on, that we accept. And it was really a moment in time where I took 2 years to really discover me, to grow, to develop, to do the hard things of feeling. So many of us don't want to feel the hard stuff. And what I want to encourage, if you're listening today, is if you don't want to feel the hard stuff, I want to encourage you to go there. Because when we don't feel the hard stuff, we also don't feel the great, the beautiful, the exciting stuff in life. We block all of the feelings. We block all of the goodness, and we become numb. We become burned out, and we lose the exciting adventure of life. We were meant to live a unique, extraordinary existence. That's actually what LUXE Everyday, which is my brand, stands for. Lead a unique, extraordinary existence every day. And so at this time, I figured out that we are truly limitless beings. So I was having a conversation while I was in worship with God. And again, it's okay. That's just my own personal belief. That's what centers me. So I was in worship with God at church. And if you've ever had impressions or God communicates with you at some level, I had this big impression while I was worshiping that knocked me on my socks. I was like, he's like, you're only at 2%, Jamie. I was like, what? I can't even count. What are you even talking about? And it was this impression of you're only at 2% of your actual potential. Now, I was like, that's ridiculous, because at the time I was probably in my 40s-ish, I would say. Yeah, somewhere in my 40s. And I'm a driven woman. I accomplish. I love to do things. I never sit. I constantly am like, what would be exciting to do next? And so to say that I was at 2% of my actual potential, I was like, that's just ridiculous. And then it became that overwhelming. And when you know it's God, when it's more than you can even comprehend, and it was not a thought that you would ever have in your life. And I was like, I have to sit with this because I can't even process this right now. Mm-hmm. And so it took several weeks, but what I learned in that process, what I began to accept and open to, and I would say that's a big thing, is we just need to open to more of what's around us instead of stay closed at what we know and what we're comfortable with. And I opened to the possibility that that was true. And then I realized, oh my gosh, Stacey, it's just true. We limit ourselves. And I know we hear this so often. We are our own limiting factor. But truly, our thoughts, our behaviors, our reactions, we limit ourselves all the time. And we are truly limitless beings. So when I say that, we have all the resources that God has. We can co-create with the God of the universe. We can co-create with his resources, his blessings, his influence. We can co-create with him and have everything that is accessible. We are simply the vessels to the universe, to God. We are simply the vessels, and everything they have access to, we have access to, if we allow it. And if we go forward and just be like, okay, how can I best serve this person? What is it you want to say to them? What is it in this moment that I'm meant to share? And really being open to that instead of us feeling like we have to sell or be or do or say something, show up as a certain way. It's so freeing when we're like, it's not even about me. It's not even about me. It is about what is going to be coming through me. And a lot of it isn't even anything I know yet, right? And so I'd say that was another defining moment in my journey.
Yeah, it's amazing when you're able to quiet the noise enough in your head, right? To be able to hear that, because I think it's hard to even hear any of that when you're at your deepest, because you're just, everything's so noisy, at least for my experience.
Noisy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I would say if you're single or just recently divorced, one of the biggest things I see with people is they keep trying to find a new relationship right away. And what happens then is you're the same person and you find the same person you're not supposed to be with. Mm-hmm. When I was single, I remember say, it was some really big global speaker, and his wife was actually talking about how they met. And she was single at the time. But what she had realized is when she was on her single journey is she was wanting this extraordinary man, right? And you know how we manifest a list, we write all the qualities you want, and that way we'll recognize them, we'll draw them to us. That's great. But that man most likely isn't going to be drawn to that woman that you might be right now, because if you're not at your fullest level, if you haven't grown to the level that you are supposed to be at, if you're not grown to the match so that you don't need something from him, you're everything you need to be, and he's everything he needs to be, now you're equal. Now you're not having to get anything from one another. You're simply creating more of a unified, powerful relationship together. And so really becoming the woman or the man that you're meant to be. desiring to grow in those areas is what is going to draw the perfect soulmate to you more than anything else. And it's also going to help you to find that confidence, because now you're going to be grounded in who you really are. You're going to know what you really want and what you don't want. You're going to be settled into your strength, but also the things that you desire are going to be true. A lot of things we desire are just needs that we want to fill, versus we don't need to have him. We desire him. We want to have a co-creator to do life with. And so I think if we first work on ourselves and provide that space, magic can happen. Absolute magic.
I agree. I mean, that's what happens when you take the time to really learn about yourself again. And you've also kind of gone through that experience of not being with the right partner. So you're able to almost, after you fill yourself back up, you're almost able to attract the version of who you are now, not who you were 20 years ago, in my experience.
For sure.
And then with my partner now, I've noticed that it's like this constant evolving and just growth that I never even imagined. And I think that's why I'm able to do so much, because I'm with the right person that's just able to help that expand. And so I think we're totally aligned there for sure. And I heard you're doing a masterclass. I'd love to hear about that too.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm so excited. So my next evolution, I just have to tell you a little piece about this, because this is how it all began for me. Is in 2022, I was at an event and I could feel the promptings. You know, when you feel those inner things of, oh, something big's coming, you're kind of resisting it. You're like, oh, I know something big is coming and I really don't even know if I'm ready for it. And I was feeling that internal stirring up of, I know I'm going to be called forth, in the sense of finally stepping forward into my fullness. Like I could just feel it. And sure enough, at the event, I had decided, and we were being asked, what is our next level? What is our next step? And it was like, I had to step forward and vocally proclaim it in front of the entire group of women that I'm ready to stop playing small, that I know I'm sliding under the radar, still as an achieving woman, still having this a life that I've created, this amazing business that I've created. I still know at some level I'm sliding under the radar. And I don't know if this is speaking to you right now, but if you know there's more inside of you, if you know, like you know that you've been playing small, that you've not fully tapped into every single essence and asset that you have to share with the world, you know what I'm talking about, right? And so I was feeling that. And so I stepped forward, and it was the most exciting year because I didn't know what that meant. What I want to encourage you to say is you don't need to know what that means for you. You just need to take the step and choose, and then allow it to come into your life. Allow the receiving, allow the power of what that means for you to step forward. Now, here's why it's scary, because we are so afraid of being criticized, judged, misunderstood, being too much, not being enough, failure, making somebody else feel small, right? We are so afraid of all of these things that we learn how to manage, how to regulate, how to still rise, still do the thing, right? Still do the thing, but we're not doing the thing full out. You know what I'm talking about. If you're listening to this, you're doing the thing, but you're not fully doing the thing, where everything in you is kind of exposed and vulnerable and you're just trying it and you don't know where it's going to go. That's the thing, right? And so I got so excited because what I realized is we as women, when we free ourselves, we free other women. So free women, just like wounded people wound people. I was like, oh my gosh. When we free ourselves, we give other women permission to rise, right? And whether they choose to accept and rise with us, or if they choose to criticize, if they choose to stay back and feel like a victim mentality, like, oh, you can do that because you have everything you need to do that, but I can't do that, right? We have to leave some of those people behind until they're ready, because that's their journey. That's not our responsibility to take on their journey. That's their journey. And when they're ready to rise, we'll be there with them. But until they're ready to rise, we can't be held back by that, because that's not what we're called to. And the other thing is it's our responsibility. We've been getting all these gifts and talents. And it's like, if you were a parent giving your child the best gift ever and it was wrapped and you couldn't wait, you knew they would love it, enjoy it so much, right? And you were going to give it to them. And then they took it and they opened it up and then they closed it back up. And then they put it in the closet because they'll get to it later because they were too afraid it would break. They were too afraid somebody would take it from them. They were too afraid, right? So they didn't want to use it. That's what we do with our gifts and talents. We're like, what if somebody criticizes me? What if I fail? What if I don't do it right? What if, right? And so we don't fully express all the things that we were given as gifts. And it's our responsibility to begin to walk in those. It's not our responsibility to do it perfect. I want you to hear me. It's not going to be perfect. But we just need to do the thing and learn along the way. And so that's what this masterclass, it's called Extraordinary Power. And it's really about walking into your extraordinary power. It is me saying, I'm doing it. Are you going to come with me? Are you done playing small? Are you done sliding under the radar? Are you done letting other women, other men, other people control how high you play? Because I'm not, I'm done. I'm done with that. And I want to invite other women into my life. I want to invite other women into LUXE Everyday to begin to do this, walk this journey together, to have other women to be supported with, right? We need to be in this community of supportive, strong women doing the thing, which is fully living our expressed life, every aspect of it. And sometimes we fall and sometimes we rise. And either way, we have this amazing supporting community that we can do it together. And so Extraordinary Power is really about the things that hold women back, the commonalities that we feel that happen to us, the ways that we get in our own way. And then what are some really strategic things that you can do, the ninja tips to get started, to really begin to walk in your fullness, begin to choose that you no longer are going to hold back, that you're just done with that. And so Extraordinary Power, I was so excited to begin this. This is really my mission this year, Stacey, is to really give other women permission, right? Permission granted to be unstoppable. That's my tagline, because I want other women to know that they can have that ability. And here's how. Here's just some basic tools. But the ones that I'm using and the ones I'll be teaching are really strategic ninja tools that really get you started in that process. So I'd love to invite any women into that. If you'd like to go check it out, it's luxeeveryday.com/EP. So it's LUXE everyday.com/EP, which stands for Extraordinary Power. And you can jump in to the masterclass, and that way we can really get started together. We can be empowered together. We can stop using excuses and start having results.
And you guys, sometimes I publish these episodes a few months later, but I'm actually going to push it up so that way you guys can still go to the masterclass. So do you want to share when it is?
Go to the page, because I'm going to have all of the details listed on the page below, but we do have one coming up next week. And then as we evolve this throughout the year, when I feel like, oh, we need to have another one, I will do the Extraordinary Power class again, because I really want to be able to draw in the women that maybe hear this in December, right? Maybe they hear it in July, and there's still that opportunity to jump in and to be a part of this movement, a part of this community, a part of this let's play at our fullest level, fully vulnerable, fully exciting, fully fun, and just this energy of the power of when women unify with women in this kind of environment is so powerful. So I want to invite you in. Just go to the page, luxeeveryday.com/EP, and jump in, because there's going to be a class for you. And if for some reason you've missed this, there's not a window right now that it's happening, then jump in. There's other opportunities on my website that you can also jump into, because I always want to provide resources for women to help to find their and discover their luxe life, their extraordinary and unique life.
What's your number one piece of advice for people on doing the thing?
Just do it. Just trust. Really. Release perfectionism. Release having to do it right. Because you and I know, Stacey and I have learned this over and over. And that's why we're so passionate about it, is the more you do it, the more you learn and the better it gets. But if you have the expectation of it being perfect the first time, first of all, you procrastinate. That just leads to procrastination because you want to do it perfect, and then you just never get there. But second of all, you learn lessons along the way. You learn how to do things better. You learn systems about yourself that helps you even actually process things more. But you also live a more extraordinary life because you're in the middle of life. You're doing life. When you hold back and you're afraid to do the thing, you're like, oh, I want to do it, but it's not that, we're not the right time. I want to do it, but I don't know how. I want to do it, but, right? Mm-hmm. You have all these excuses. You're missing out on life. There's so much richness and excitement and adventure to life when instead of trying to control it and do it perfect, we just allow it. We experience it along the way. That's the fun. It's not even getting to the end of the thing. It's the experience along the way. If we allow it to be fun, if we play a game, get curious like a child. Ooh, what would happen if I did this? And then it doesn't work out. Ooh, that didn't work out. What else would be fun that I could try that would be different, but still get me to that outcome? And just keep trying and playing. That's the thing. I would add one more thing. I think one of the places that I always start people in is energy management. And I do want to add this just because it's so crucial. Mm-hmm. If you don't feel good, if your energy is nil, right? You literally are just exhausted. Because a lot of times when we're in the middle of hard things, we're not taking care of ourselves. We're not doing self-care. And when we're in the middle of hard things, it is exhausting. So the number one thing before anything else is take care of yourself. You have to manage your energy, because once you manage your energy, once you extract the things that are extracting life out of you and bring more of, draw in more of the things that light you up, fill you up, right? That encourage you, that align more with you, then you have the motivation, the creativity. You have this inside of you. Your vessel can actually take you so much further. When you're exhausted, it's really hard to have that ability to do the thing because it just feels more exhausting. So take care of your vessel first and then go full force into doing all the things. All the things.
Thank you so much for joining me. This was so much fun.
I loved it. Thank you so much for having me, Stacey. You're amazing. And I know what I love is that if you don't know, Stacey's doing her Find Your Voice challenge, which fits perfectly into living into your extraordinary power. So if you don't know about that, make sure that you check out that, because finding your voice, it goes back to so many of the conversations we've had today, Stacey. And if you don't feel like you're being heard, if you don't feel confident because you haven't been speaking your truth, it's so incredibly powerful to finally find your voice and step into it. And so I would for sure check out Finding Your Voice challenge, because it's going to be incredible and an incredible part of your journey this year. So
yeah, I think that's why we're so aligned, because when you go through that identity crash, you want to be able to just rediscover yourself. And so I love what you're doing. So thank you guys for listening, and do the thing. Don't wait for opportunity. Create it. And hey guys, did you check out my Facebook group yet? Go to dothethingcommunity.com.